So I was trying to escape. I immediately jump on Google Maps and I'm like, I can't sit here for another 15 minutes and talk to this dude about his fucking Wordle. And so I look on my Google Maps and I'm just like, oh God. I was like, well, I need coffee, like blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh yeah, there's some places around here. Like we could go. I'm like, me, I, Serena, the Lone Ranger. She walks at her own pace. She's on her little horseback. She's taking, I don't know. But I'm like, hell no. Alright, we're starting. Let's record. Alright, so the other weekend, I was going out with my girlies. And I was looking sexy. I'm not gonna lie. I was wearing this like black corset, these black like long pants that flare out. They've got like the little tie things on the edge, which seem hot, but like, what kind of underwear are you supposed to wear with that? Because it's gonna show. You know, if you've got like the little tie-ups on the side, whatever you're wearing, they're gonna see. So typically whatever choice I make is just not the right one. But still hot. I got my black combat boots on. I feel like a freaking ninja out there in the club. But I just want to give you guys a good picture of what I looked like at this night. When my girlfriends and I go out, I live in Phoenix, but we like Old Town. Old Town is where the money is at. That's where people are willing to drop $1 on you, willing to buy some drinks, give you some bottle service. It's a different vibe in Phoenix, I will say. I would say it's more people like my age. We're not established yet. We can afford a couple drinks at the bar, but you know, we got to be a little stingy. We can't be giving out these drinks left and right. So I get the people in Phoenix. It's more of like a bar scene. As women working entry-level jobs, yeah, we're making a good amount, but like, let somebody take care of me. So we like Scottsdale. Somebody can buy our drinks. Also, I apologize if I start to kind of go into like a little accent. I've been watching a lot of Plan Brie Uncut. And I swear, every time they're talking, they start going New York. Like, hey, it's my dog. You're going to pick up my dog and take him to the pound? Are you going to take my dog? You're going to take him on a walk? You're going to buy him some fresh tuna? What you going to do? I swear, every time I kind of start, like, speaking, I start getting that, like, New York, like, thick, like, Al Pacino. Is that the right person? I don't know. Somebody in The Godfather, I feel like I start to sound like, so. I don't know. When I moved down here from college, I remember the one word that everybody always gave me shit for was bag. I'd be like, oh yeah, I got a bag, bag. And they're like, bro, it's bag. I'm like, bro, that is so much extra like emphasis you gotta put on your mouth to be like, bag. I need a bag. Can you give me a grocery bag? That and pop. I said pop for so many years. Like, when I came down here, everybody's like, soda. And now I've been here for so long, I'm starting to say soda. So, you know, it's crazy how this world just shapes you and changes your perspective and your vocabulary and your vernacular. But anyways, so we go out to Old Town. This isn't going to be a party story. This is a day after story. So don't worry, I'll save you the gory details. But not gory. There was no sort of liquids coming out of anywhere, so, I mean, I did feel like I was going to yak. But I didn't. I swear, I think when I wear a corset out, I feel 10 times more inclined to yak, because it's like sucking everything in. I'm like, oh, just the pressure is on. But anyways, we went out that night, had a great time, whatever. One of my friends lives near Old Town, so typically I'll just drive to her place, we'll pregame there, Uber to Old Town. Old Town is like a club district, if you don't know. We'll Uber to Old Town, Uber back to her place, and I'll just crash on her couch, drive home in the morning, save a lot on an Uber, because Ubering all the way from there to my place, you're looking at like $50, all right? I'm not about to do that, you know? Do I need to explain why I'm not about to do that? No. So anyways, I wake up the next morning, I'm on her couch, and I was a smart cookie this night, I will tell you. I packed a bag. I did my skincare. I woke up with pimple patches on. Like, that's how well I went into the routine. I saw the pimple in my blurry state, and I said, we're gonna take care of you tonight. So I woke up, I did my skincare. I was really proud. I didn't brush my teeth. So, you win some, you lose some. But remember, I was wearing a corset. You think I slept in a corset? Bro, my organs were about to come out of my fucking throat, it felt like. So, no, I did not sleep in the corset. I packed a top. But let me tell you, this top is a top that's not supposed to leave the house, all right? It's a white tank top, crop top, very much see-through, very much nipples poking out for the world to see, not just the shape, but the color. You can see it all. It's like, I'm there. I walk into a room, they're like, oh, I see you. So, yeah, so I'm wearing that. I'm still wearing my sexy tie-up pants, though, because I don't know what material they are, but they're stretchy. And so they're pretty comfortable. I'm not going to lie. So I slept in those. But I get up the next day, and I actually had to drive to Tucson that day. So I had an alarm and everything. I had to leave Phoenix around like 3 or 4. So I was like, all right, let me get up around like 10. And the reason I had to get up early is because I needed to get an oil change. My oil change light had been on for a good amount of time. I'm not going to say exactly how long, because if my dad's watching this, he's going to be real pissed. But anyways, I woke up that morning with the intention of going to Jiffy Lube and getting my oil changed. And I specifically chose Jiffy Lube because last time I went there, I remember I just sat in my car and they did the whole damn thing. This time was different. This time was very different. So I'm still in my like nipple top. I'm just going to call it that. It's the white top, the nipple top. You can see it all. And my hoochie mama pants, and I put on my combat boots, tie my hair up, looking real raggedy. If I have a picture, I'll insert it if you're watching this on YouTube. But just, it's the morning after. Nobody's looking good. You're not looking alive. Your skin's looking dull. I mean, my breath stunk. So I roll up to the Jiffy Lube. I roll my window down, and the guy who approaches me was a very fine-looking man. I'm not gonna lie. He was very attractive, and I was like, God damn it. And of course, every time I go to Jiffy Lube, it's like a 70-year-old man working on my car, but this time it's like, middle-aged, fine-looking man. And I was like, of course, whatever. So I roll my window down, and I was like, oh, hey, I just need an oil change. And he's like, oh, okay, well, why don't you step out of the car, go sit in our waiting room. It'll probably be about 30 minutes. I was like, wait, I got to get out of the car. Bitch, I'm already embarrassed enough with you looking at my face like this, but you don't even know. You don't even know what's below the belt. So I step out of the car, and there was no explaining my outfit. It's 10 a.m., and I'm wearing fucking like stripper pants with my combat boots and my literal see-through nipple shirt. Like, this is great. So I'm like, all right, thanks for taking care of my car. I walk into the waiting room, and there's about 6 seats in there, and there's a woman sitting to my right and a guy right in front of me who's, sitting in the waiting room, whatever. So there's 3 of us, and I sit a chair away from the woman, giving us some space, and immediately I notice this man is hacking up a lung, all right? And why are men so dramatic when it comes to, like, getting sick? Have you ever heard a man throw up? Like, that shit is so obnoxious. I'm like, bro, keep it down. Like, a woman will throw up and be like, excuse me, and they'll be like, I don't know. When a man's throwing up, it sounds like Godzilla's erupting in, like, the fucking bathroom or something. I'm like, can y'all chill? Like, I hear you. I get you. Do you want sympathy? I'll give it to you, but that's not the way. So just imagine, that's this guy, hacking up a lung. Also not covering it. Just straight up spewing whatever is in his throat. And I'm like, listen, COVID aside, what happened to just, like, manners? Like, cover your cough, okay? Put it into your elbow. Put it into your shirt, like anything. I mean, we had posters in elementary school that said, cover your cough, teaching children how to do it. So, like, when did this just, like, leave your brain? Did it never not enter? Like, common courtesy. Have some. So I was just like, geez, bro, like, contain it. I don't know. So he's just being loud with his cough, and I'm like, okay, we hear you. And the lady gets up, and they come in, and they're like, we finished your car, Cynthia. I'm like, Cynthia, you lucky bitch. So then at that point, it's just me and this man coughing. I'm going to name him William. So William's sitting there, still coughing, still whatever. And at this point, it's one of those coughs where I'm like, what's going on? That's not a cough. That's a pay attention to me, like throat clear. You know what I mean? Where they're like, he's doing like a symphony of that. I'm like, bro, is this like, am I listening to Beethoven right now? I feel like you've got like a string of harmonies going on with this cough. Like, I hear you, I see you. What do you want me to do? Say like, are you okay? Do you want a tissue? So at this point, it's becoming obnoxious. I'm like, all right, shut up, the coughing. So he's on his phone, whatever. I'm sitting on my phone. I am, trying to steer clear of making any sort of eye contact because I don't want to invite this dude into like, I just don't want to have a conversation. I'm hungover. I'm looking very much, I'm looking like a slut. That's not a bad thing. I'm just looking like a slut, okay? So finally, we're sitting in there, and after Cynthia gets up, William looks at me, and he says, hey, have you ever played Wordle? And I didn't want this conversation to go anywhere. I was like, disengage. So I lied. I mean, I've never played it. I've never downloaded it, but I know what it is. I mean, I'm not living under a rock, but I was like, no, I don't know what that is. He's like, oh, really? Like, you've never? I'm like, no, never played it. Continue to look on my phone. This man gets up from his seat and comes and sits right next to me. I was like, bro, I don't know how to play the game. What do you? It's like, he's going to teach me how to play Wordle? That's not how I thought I'd be spending my Saturday morning at 10 a.m. in this Jiffy Lube, you know? So William comes over and sits next to me, and he's like, oh, well, it's this game. Starts explaining Wordle to me, and I'm like, boy, I know how to play. Like, I'm just playing dumb. So I have to sit through this man explaining how to play Wordle to me and how he's stuck on this one word. I'm like, oh, sorry. To be honest, okay, here's the thing, y'all. I'm so good at that shit. Scrabble, bananagrams, Wordle. You give me any sort of like word type things and I can kill it. My friend showed me her Wordle once. I guessed it on the second one. And I was like, this is my forte. But I had no desire to help this man with this word, because what happens if I give him the word? He don't leave. But if I play dumb and like, oh, damn, I don't know the word, foxy, funky, I don't know, then maybe he'd go away. No, he proceeds to sit there and try to figure out the Wordle aloud. He's like, oh, yeah, it could be, there's a B here, but it starts with these words, and there's no more vowels but this. And I'm like, oh, my God, kill me. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And he's holding the phone in front of both of us. Like, we're both supposed to figure it out. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I can't help you, bro. Like, I didn't even give him, like, a suggestion of, like, maybe this letter, like, read the room. Read the fucking 10-foot by 10-foot room, Gary. I'm not trying to play Wordle with you. All right? So he's still sitting there like, oh, could be this. Maybe it could be that. I'm like, okay, whatever. So finally, in the midst of him figuring out all these different letters, whatever, he guesses the word on his own. No help from me. I did not suggest anything. And he's like, oh, it was this. I'm like, good, great. I'm like, well, you did it. Good job, Gary. Here's a little medal and maybe a little bit of attention so you stop coughing everywhere. And so I thought once he figured out the word, he'd leave. No. He puts his phone away and he goes, I'm so-and-so, by the way. Starts a conversation. I'm like, oh, God. And I'm not trying to be a bitch, but like, I'm hungover. I'm looking raggedy. And also, this man is probably like 15, 20 years. Let's see. I'm 22. I keep thinking I'm in the mindset of like a 19-year-old. All right, 22. He's probably in like his late 30s. He's got a little bit of a balding going on right here. Honestly, can't really remember what he looked like because it's just average white guy, but probably like 10 or 15 years older than me. And anyways, so he starts talking, trying to, ask me about my life. And I was just like, yeah. And I was trying to emphasize the fact that I just graduated college. Like, I'm young. Like, this dude is balding. He looks pretty old. So I'm like, maybe don't flirt with me. Like, it's a little weird. The age difference, whatever. No, he did not care. He's like, oh, you just graduated? Like, that's so cool, blah, blah, blah. Asking me what my degree was, how I liked college, whatever. And I am being so short with this guy, okay? Short, one-word answer is like, yep, oh, it was fun. Yeah, I liked it. I work here. Like, the shortest you can get. And guys, I'll tell you something, like, the one thing that drives me nuts is I feel like a lot of creepy men, I won't say like all men, there are some men out there who can read body language, who can read, people's vibe, whatever. But I swear it's the creepy ones who I just think like they're missing a part of their brain that helps them kind of like get social cues, or maybe they're just so like narcissistic that they don't think that they don't recognize rejection. I don't know. So anyways, I'm sitting there, one word answer, whatever, and he's going on about his life. Finally, one of the workers comes in, and I'm like, oh, thank God, my car's done. My car is done. I'm out of here. Bye, William, Bill, whatever the fuck you go by. I don't care. But he comes in, and he was like, oh, hey, listen, all my guys have been here since like 7 a.m. They're really tired. They haven't gotten a break at all. They've been working like back to back to back on cars. So they're going to take like a 5-minute break, and then they'll get back on your cars. Actually, no, it was a 15. She goes, they're going to take a 15-minute break, and then they'll get back to each of your cars. And he looks at me, and he's like, which vehicle was yours? I told him, I was like, oh, this is my car. And the guy was like, yeah, this is my car. And the guy was like, oh, okay. Are you guys together? And I look at him like, really? Really, Gary? I know I was looking raggedy that morning, like busted, raggedy, straight out of the club, but I was a little insulted that he thought we were together. And then it gets worse. The guy looks at me and he's like, like all proud, thinking like, oh, this guy thought we were together. I'm like, no, William, we're not together. And I was like, no, like we're not. And the worker looks at us and he goes, oh, you guys would be really good looking together. And I tell you, I have never wanted to sucker punch an old man more than in that moment. Because I really think he gave William like the balls to continue his little act. Because I was just like, you could see on my face I died inside right when he said that. I'm like, bro, how in what world are we a good looking couple? Sorry, no. Also, just like our vibes did not match. Like, even if, let's say I am looking pretty raggedy, so like, but I'm wearing like a hoochie mama outfit. This dude was in like a collared shirt and jeans and like boat shoes. How? In what world? Like, I really think he was just trying to like do one for the boys and like be on the guy's side and be like, yeah, I got you. And I'm like, fuck you, Gary. So yeah. And then I was like, yeah, no, we're not together. Really, like, put that into that guy's head. And he's like, okay, well, we're gonna take a 15-minute break, and we'll be back to finish your cars. So I was like, oh, great, another 15 minutes in here. So I was trying to escape. Okay, I was in kind of like a little area where there was like coffee shops, maybe a Jamba Juice nearby, but I was like, I immediately jump on Google Maps and I'm like, I can't sit here for another 15 minutes and talk to this dude about his fucking Wordle and whatever. Like, he's just not getting the hint. And so I look on my Google Maps and I'm just like, oh God. I was like, well, I need coffee, like blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh yeah, there's some places around here. Like, we could go. I'm like, me, I, Serena, the Lone Ranger. She walks at her own pace. She's on her little horseback. She's taking, I don't know. But I'm like, hell no. So I immediately turn the maps off. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Wherever I'm going, he's going to follow, and that's just going to be worse. So I sit there. He's still talking to me about this and that. And like, honestly, he wasn't the creepiest dude that I've ever encountered. He was just annoying. I was like, bro, can you not get that I don't want to talk right now? Like, I'm not. And I swear that compliment that guy gave him, not me, really just like boosted him up and encouraged him to keep talking to me. Because I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah. So we're sitting there for an extra 15, 20 minutes. Honestly, can't even remember what we were talking about because I disassociated. I was like, I can't do this right now. And like, it was just, no. I was getting so pissed too that he like wasn't reading my body language. And like, I couldn't straight up just be like, listen, I don't want to talk anymore because, I mean, I could have, but I'm human and I'm too scared to say that. And I think it would have been awkward if I said that and then we were stuck sitting in there for the next 20 minutes while they fixed our cars. So I just endured it all. So yeah, finally, about 30 minutes later, the first guy who helped me with my car, where I was like, ooh, he's kind of cute. He comes out and he's like, oh, who's got the this and that, whatever car. And the guy was like, oh, that's mine. And I was like, the Lord is answering my prayers. I am safe. I am finally free from this man's boring ass, annoying ass conversation about Wordle. No, but I was like, fuck yeah, get out of here, Gary. So he gets up to get his car, fill out the paperwork, whatever. And right as he's about to leave, he turns around and he's like, hey, it was really nice talking to you. Like, can I get your number and I'll take you out to dinner sometime? Maybe we can hang out. And I was like, and the one worker's looking at me like, he knew. Like that worker, he knew. And I don't know, the other old dude, Gary, who was like giving the guy the compliment, I don't know what he thought. But this worker knew. He could tell on my face that I was like dying inside when he asked. So I was like, yeah. So I gave him my number. It's like, great. See ya for that dinner. And I get up and I was like, so finally he leaves. I'm like, oh, I can breathe. And they call me up and it's the same cute worker. He's like, hey. And something I really appreciated, because he could tell I was uncomfortable, and he was like, hey love, like I got you. I don't know. It's funny because, also sorry about the sirens. It's funny because I think this guy's hot, so immediately, like him calling me love or whatever, I'm like, hee hee. But the other guy, I'm like, you're talking to me about your Wordle? Creep! Yeah, sorry, it's a bad double standard, but what are you gonna do? But it's because that guy wasn't abrasive, and he I don't know, because, yeah, I can't explain, all right? But the worker was like, listen, I'm so sorry you had to wait like this long. I'm going to give you a discount. She gave me like $25 off my oil change. I was like, okay, all of this misery wasn't worth nothing. But he was real cute, and he could just read. He could read the room. That's what's attractive, is he could read the room, and he could tell I was uncomfortable. William, Bill, wherever you are, boy, read body language. I think that's the one thing that really drives me nuts about like creepy guys, is take into account a woman's body language. If a guy is talking to me and I like him, my body is going to be turned towards him. I'm going to be facing him. I'm going to maintain eye contact. And for something I do is I tend to kind of mimic their body language, like their stances. If they're standing with like their arms crossed, I'll cross my arms. And that shows that I'm like interested or engaged in the conversation. If I'm turned away from you, if I'm not maintaining eye contact, and if I'm keeping a distance from you, there should be some wheels turning in there that I don't like you, or I don't want to continue this conversation. And I swear, like, all of the creepy men that I have encounters with, like, they just don't read that. And that's the hard thing, is I think probably something that I need to work on myself, is no matter what, I don't want to be a bitch. And I'm working on it because it's a part of like the male gaze. And for some reason, even if I don't like a guy at all, even if I don't find him remotely attractive, I want him to like me. I want him to find me attractive, and I want him to fall for me. It's kind of crazy. It's very crazy. I need to get over that. So I'm not willing to be like, hey, I'm not really feeling you. I'm not interested in this conversation because I want all men to like me. Yeah, sorry, I'm working on it. I've had a couple instances where I was able to be like, yo, and put up those boundaries, but it's inconsistent. I want to be consistent with it. And yeah. So a hard thing for me is my body language will show that I'm uncomfortable, but I'll still be really nice and really friendly. And like, even if my answers are short, I'm not like, yeah. I'll be like, yeah. Like, it's still friendly in a way. So it's like, men, I know that you're just thinking, or maybe you're not. I don't know what you're thinking with. I don't know if it's that or nothing. But really read somebody's body language. Like, learn how to do that, because their words are just words. Like, it's not really telling as to how somebody feels necessarily. So that was just something that I was like, I need more people to get on board with this and to know how to read body language. Like, I can tell when a dude is not feeling me. Like, his answers will be very short. He'll be if we're having a conversation, I'll see him like looking around the room, and that is my note to be like, all right, I'm out. They ain't digging me like I'm digging them. And that's fine. Like, not everybody's going to like you, but just accept it. You don't got to keep pushing. You're not going to change somebody's mind. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just something we all got to learn. But yeah, that was my little story. I'm just kind of like, after that day, I was just like, bruh, I'm so sick of the creepy men. But the one thing that does kind of suck about the situation is I really feel like my perception and my trust in people has shifted since I moved to like a bigger city, like Tempe, Phoenix, whatever. Because growing up in a small town, I didn't have the perception that everybody had like bad intentions. Because genuinely, I don't think they did. Like, I grew up in a small town in Montana. If you're walking downtown and you see somebody on the street, you typically like say hi. Whereas here, if somebody talks to me on the street, I'm immediately like fight or flight, ignore, don't look at them, don't make eye contact, because I feel like they always have like some sort of ulterior motive. They have bad intentions. And I'm like, bro, that sucks. Because then I go back home and I feel like a bitch because I'm walking down these streets. I'm ignoring everybody. People are saying hi. And I'm just like, hey, like, I don't know. I think it's something I miss about growing up in a small town. And I think like the city has made me real jaded. And I think that everybody has like bad intentions when most people probably don't. But you gotta be on guard, and I'd rather be a bitch and be rude to somebody who was just trying to have a conversation than to be dead and speaking to everybody on the street who talks to me. And I don't know, just you ask any girl, you make a conversation with a guy on the street, if somebody's like, hey, do you have any extra cash, blah, blah, it's like that, we learned about it in business. It's like they ask you for something small, and if it's small enough, you'll be like, okay. But then right when you accept the offer and you give them whatever they need, they ask for more. It's not the foot in the door. It's something else. God. I literally have a degree in this. I should know. But yeah, so anytime that they ask you for something, if you're like, all right, yeah, I got a couple extra dollars, it's always something more. They're like, hey, can you spare this? Can you spare? No, bitch, I can't spare nothing. I ain't even got a spare tire. I don't actually. My tire popped, and I had to use that spare tire. So, yeah, that's bad. But I don't know. I just kind of miss, like, almost the ignorance and that innocence where you think everybody is just good and has good intentions. And no, girl. I think the city has really ruined that for me. But I don't know. I feel like I can just... You can read people, and that is the one thing too, where if somebody is asking me for directions in 2022 with Google Maps, with literally the world at your fingertips, why the hell do you need directions from me? You literally have it, like people who have phones, and they're like, hey, is there a gas station around here? Bro, look it up. You think my directions would be any better? If I tell you, oh yeah, 2 blocks to the right, then up, it's like, just look it up. Like, that is something that's always been sus to me, is people who ask for things that you could easily look up. Like, I've had so many men come up to me and be like, hey, is there a gas station near here? Or do you know if there's like this spot? I'm like, nope. I literally say no. I don't know. Look it up. You got a phone in your hand. Like that, you sus for that. I feel like I'm going back into the New York accent. I've told you I've been watching too much Plan Brie. And I love that bitch. I really started getting into podcasts, and that's why I'm doing this. I feel like videos, I love doing videos, okay? I love filming, editing, whatever. I mean, I say I love it. Sometimes I fucking hate it, to be honest. But the thing that sucks is like in my videos, I'm like telling a story, doing whatever. And if you have to edit that for hours and hear that story over and over again, you get so sick of it. You're like, oh my God, let me just put this up. And I feel like I lose the excitement for the content. And for me personally, I haven't been watching like vlogs or anything recently. I mean, unless it's like my core YouTubers that I'll watch anything they put out. They could literally put a video of them sitting in bed doing a Sudoku or whatever, sipping on a matcha latte, and I'd be like, wow, this is really good. But I don't know. I've been watching a lot of podcasts, and I'm like, I feel like I know it's something I could do because I love rambling. And it's a lot more, I think a lot of times too, I kind of like censor myself when I'm editing, or I cut out things where I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. It's like, why am I censoring like pieces of who I am? If people don't like it, they don't got to watch. It's that simple. And I think like we're almost like molding people nowadays, especially in social media, to be the perfect like influencer or whatever, and we all have the same like ideas, the same values, whatever. It's like, bro, that's not real life. Like, we're not all the same person. We're all gonna have like different ideas, different values, different things we believe in or agree with or disagree with. And I'm like, I just want to get on here and speak and not have the opportunity to edit anything out. Obviously, if I'm like and I'm like stuttering a shit ton, I might edit it out. But like, I just want to say what I want to say, and I don't want to feel like, oh, I should cut that out. Like that's gonna make me look bad, or people are gonna think this, or I sound like a bitch here. Like, but no, let's just let it out. Let's just air it all out. And this way I won't get sick of the story. I'll tell it once, I'll cut it down, I'll give it to you guys. And I feel I have so much that I want to say and talk about, but I'm like, how do I even incorporate that into a video? Like, if I'm doing a vlog and I want to talk about the one time that, I met Adam Sandler on a movie set, or the one time I shit my pants at a family function and cried for the rest of the night, like, it's hard to incorporate that in a video. But if you're just talking on a podcast, like, you can literally talk about anything. And yeah. But it's a fun space too, because I notice I've been watching hella comedians do podcasts, like Theo Von. That dude, like, comedians are the one people that I admire the most, because especially stand-up, people who get on a stage in front of a shit ton of people who their intention of being there and seeing you is make me laugh. And if you don't make me laugh, you're not a good comedian. Like, imagine you get up there and something bombs. Like, you really have to strip away your ego and just be like, I'm just going to do what I think is funny, and, hopefully that people will resonate with it. Like, I admire people who do that shit, a ton. And they're so quick too. Like Bobby Lee, Theo Von, watching them on podcasts, like the way that their brain is constantly turning. Like, I feel like it's like 5 seconds ahead of everybody else. I don't know if they're on like drugs or anything, but my brain just doesn't work that fast. Or I'll think of a punchline like 10 seconds after. Like, it takes me a minute to kind of process things, but they're just quick. They are so quick. And I admire it. And I think it's more fun. And I like the style of their podcast because they go on different tangents. I do like podcasts that have a little bit of structure. You have a main story you're telling. But I think it's fun to kind of go into like different subjects, because I get bored when somebody's talking about the same thing for an entire hour. I'm like, okay, next subject. So I'm going to try to kind of do that. I'm just going to make the content that I like to watch, and hopefully you guys like to watch it too. I think podcasts are a lot of fun. It allows me to be a little more like free with how I speak. And yeah, I just have a lot of stories that I want to tell. But yeah, I'm going to do more podcasts because this shit is fun.